Bloomberg Audio Studios.
Podcasts, radio, news.
Single best idea on Apple Podcasts. Thank you for your response, getting it out there, trying to get it out each and every day. Today was simple, a GDP number, and this has been, without question, the missed call of the last 18 months. There's worry, there's angst, levels of gloom, a relative, well, it's okay, but not. And the numbers come in constructive. The first look at June 30 ending GDP was a stunning 2.8%. Neil Dutta out with a terse note afterwards saying things have rapidly changed since June 30. Neil Dutta in the camp, the Fed's got to get on board, get going, cut rates. But how do you do that with a 2.8 statistic with a 5.1% nominal GDP? Anastasia Amoroso says, look at the information. With I capital, Anastasia says the next few weeks matter.
Next week is absolutely pivotal. It is critical, is going to determine the direction of the market over the next, I would say, couple of months. You know, if the rest of the Mag 7 complex does actually deliver, then maybe we don't need to worry about the slowdown and some of those earnings surprises. But if it doesn't, then I think it does lead to further lowering of expectations. And this is, by the way, good news, further lowering of valuations. So I think if that happens, then you have a cleaner slate. So that's the first thing I wanted to say about next week. But the broader point is this rotation trade. I call it the great rotation. I think it's firmly in place. Right now, investors are going to focus on the next best thing, which is the Fed rate cut. And how do you position for the rate cut? You position it in rate cut beneficiaries, such as small caps, such as regional banks. And by the way, defensives actually tend to outperform after the first rate cut. So that's why we've been recommending, Tom, this new barbell of not tech and money markets, but defenses like utilities and regional banks.
Some of the nuance there. Anastasia Amoroso way out front on this bull market. Really quite courageous a year and a half ago, saying you have to participate. And some nuance there about a pullback, but she made clear, this is before the GDP report, that the economy is still there. I didn't get a lot of recession gloom from her. So many people ask me, stop me on the street, whatever, and say, what's it really like in putting together Bloomberg Surveillance every day? And what you don't see is Michael Barr putting the news together, which is basically he does it 24/7. Early in the morning, he's looking at 40 and 50 angles in audio and video to do what I think is the absolute best news coverage that we have. He does two tranches. He does a national, international news tranche, and then he does separately a local tranche for the tri-state area and on to Washington and Boston as well. Lisa Mateo's the same way. She's with us, and you see her in the wonderful newspaper segment. Somebody said they'd like the newspaper segment to be an hour long. I don't know where that came from. But Lisa's got many other duties as well. And there's a point where she just stops the show, gets her elbows out, and says, I want to ask a question. Lisa Mateo to Wendy Schiller of Brown University.
Lisa, that's a great question. You know, I was speculating earlier in the week that it was sort of designed to give the voices in the party a chance to weigh in on Harris, maybe weigh in on the VP, make people feel included. But it really looks like the grassroots of the party is all in on Kamala Harris. We've seen, a pretty amazing result just in the suburbs of Milwaukee the other day. So, I mean, when you think about that, now you're sort of saying, is this like Hamlet, or Macbeth? Like, what's going on?
Oh, listen.
Standing around in your living room thinking, should I not? Get with the times and get with the party. So it seems just out of step to me. Clearly, he'll get out on the campaign trail for Kamala Harris when the time comes. But maybe he feels like, it wouldn't be beneficial to her right now. I'm not so sure that's a great, perception of the reality of what's going on.
Lisa Mateo, a piercing question to Wendy Schiller, the Taubman Center at Brown University. You see how she quoted Shakespeare there? I mean, that's the difference. Ivy League professors, they tie Shakespeare into, like brown ice hockey and all the rest of it. I don't, we don't do that. But there she is with Macbeth and Hamlet as well. It is going to be an eventful week. Of course, tomorrow we've got PCE, which is the inflation statistic for the Fed. I really can't say enough about 5% nominal GDP, seeing ending June 30, how everybody will write about that in the next 20, 24 hours. And again, we got the political coverage of the nation. David Gurrow with us. And, of course, Joe Matthew, Kaylee Lyons, Jack Fitzpatrick, and others. A real substantial team. Zach Cohen, I should mention, on Capitol Hill, as we continue to cover this election. We're out on YouTube. Subscribe to Bloomberg Podcasts out on YouTube. That's the number one way you can help me keep this going. Subscribe to Bloomberg Podcasts. We're out there 7 to 10 Wall Street time with a live feed growing every day. Also on Apple CarPlay, on Android Auto as well. Here, we're on Apple Podcasts. Single best idea.